be such a booger.
Hi, my name is Ross Miller and welcome to the Speedwell Garage, Parkton's friendliest Studebaker Packard workshop. Alright, today we're going to talk a little bit about post-war Packard hydraulic valve lifters. These are the little things that when your engine is hot, go tick, 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 tick. When you pull into the parking lot, you're trying to impress all your friends and the people at the show, and your engine sounds like someone's dropping steel BBs on top of the cylinder head. It's a little hard to find which lifter is making noise in these engines. I recommend using a stethoscope. You have to reach in through the fender while the engine's running with your valve covers off. Lay your stethoscope right on the valve stem and you can usually tell which lifter is ticking. It's a pain. There's just no two ways about it. The other thing that you can do is, by careful observation, a really bad valve lifter that's leaking down quickly will actually make a little geyser of oil. It shoots up on either side every time the valve is depressed, so you can spot them that way. But that's not an ironclad way to find it, because sometimes, for example, this engine had one valve lifter that was ticking when the engine was warm, but it's only 20 degrees outside. Chances are, when the engine gets really hot in the middle of August, there's going to be more valve lifters ticking. And we don't want to have to go back in and do a search and destroy mission on those at that point. So I'm going to show you a method for how to check the valve lifters once they're out. We will be basically comparing the best to the worst and culling out the worst ones. So I've made this little machine. It's basically just a lever and a plunger that I use for applying pressure to the valve lifter. On Packard valve lifters, the lifter itself sits inside the tappet. The tappet you cannot take out of the engine easily. You have to remove the camshaft to get it out, but the lifters itself you can actually take out. And these lifters also, let's see if this one will do it. Yep. Oh, look at that. They just come apart like that. You twist and pull, and then they get stuck because there's usually lacquer or something at the bottom. But I'm going to show you a way to clean these and to test these that doesn't take too much agony. But anyway, these lifters sit like this under here, and then I can put a load on them. There we go, that one just went back into place. And some of the kerosene that I had in there previously from cleaning it just came out. And I hang a weight on here and I time how long it takes for them to go down. That way I can compare all the lifters in a set and pick out the good ones and the ones that are little on the dodgy side. So let's see how that goes. One of the first things you have to do when you want to test your lifters is that if they're full of oil, you can't get a good test, because cold oil, even a bad lifter, will hold pressure for a long time. So we have to get something a little thinner into them, and I also like to clean them up, and I found a really easy way to clean them up, and I'm going to show you right now. This is actually a can of gasoline, just normal gasoline, nothing special, because it's such a good solvent and it's so readily available. You could use paint thinner if you'd like, if you have agonizing fear of fire, but I'm not smoking and I'm not making any sparks. So I hold the lifter by its little stem and I submerge it in the gasoline. Let's see if we can get in here to see that. I may have to put a little bit more gas in this can. Yeah. Okay, so these Packard valve lifters, and something very similar was used in Cadillac and also I believe Lincoln at the same time, basically consists of a very finely finished cylinder and a small piston with a spring on it that fit very precisely inside. These are probably fit within a couple tenths of a thousandth of an inch, so that they would be able to support the pressure that was put upon them when opening the valve. And what happens as they get old is that the pistons no longer fit the cylinders too well, and you start to get a lot of leak down. When the oil supply can no longer keep up with the leak down rate, then you begin to get the tapping. In the bottom of this little cylinder, and there's no way to see it conveniently right now, there's a little ball check valve, and that enables the lifter to suck up a little bit of oil out of the tappet, and then when the valve pushes it down, the valve check valve keeps the oil from escaping, and the oil holds the little piston up. So it's very important, of course, that all these parts be clean. They fit so tightly you have to twist them together, and there we go. We twist them together. Now I'm going to show you a nice, easy way to clean these things, because sometimes they just don't want to come apart. They have enough varnish inside them from years of running. And what I do is I take a little pair of vice grips here, and I grab it gently by the stem and submerge it in gasoline, because it can be very hard to get these things apart. I submerge it in gasoline, and what I do is I take my little piece of wire here, and I hold the ball check valve open with the piece of wire, and then I can work the lifter up and down in the gasoline. It'll be pumping gas in and out of its little body there, and that will expel any dirt and gets all the oil out. So then we're ready to test it.
So the valve's upside down inside there.
Yeah, this is
pressing it down.
Yes, we're putting it upside down inside there, just for the purpose of, yeah, it's the easiest way to get it apart. Now I'm going to put a little bit of, for my testing, you can use, again, different fluids for comparing the different lifters together, but I find that I get a good, consistent result by using kerosene. It's a little thicker than gasoline, it's a little thicker than paint thinner and such things. So I have my little Spam can here and a lifter body.
Thought it looked familiar.
It was delicious before. So my little lifter body there, which just filled up with kerosene, and you put your lifter in it.
So is the lifter body also known as the tappet?
It's also known as the tappet. Yeah, for this test you need to have an extra one or find one out of a junker. So, and I take the lever there, and I can work the. See, this particular lifter has nothing but gasoline inside in it right now. It goes down very easily, but now it's starting to pick up some of the kerosene, which is a little thicker, and it's getting some resistance. But I can tell just by the light finger pressure that I'm able to collapse this lifter that it's not a good one. So the way what I do is I time each lifter with a given weight hanging on the end to see how long it takes to go down. And if you watch the little notch right there on the pin, it's easier to see when it's down all the way. So I usually just count 1001. Oh goodness, that's a bad one. It's not even a second to go down. 1001. Wow. Okay, bad lifter. Okay, now just for comparison's sake, I have gone through a set of lifters out of this engine, and yeah, we'll put them in the museum as the really bad lifter. I have gone through and tested all of these lifters. That 1 second lifter used to live right here, and I have now replaced him with a much better one. This one should actually test at 15 seconds. We'll try it out here.
It sounds like a Superman lifter.
It sounds like a Superman lifter, but when they're new, that would be pretty much a standard. Oops, let me get him in place here. Cycle him through once. Make sure he's all full of fluid. And let's see, 15 seconds on a video is going to be boring, but we'll see. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. roughly 15 seconds to go down. So that's a really good one. You will not have any lifter noise in your engine.
What is the slowest number that a mechanic should tolerate when it comes to this test?
I have found about the least that you can get away with is 3 seconds. And actually a 3 second works just fine. 4 seconds better. 2 is a little bit too dodgy, but I like to have at least 4 or 5, and then you're good.
What's the life expectancy at different times? So like, will a 15 hold up longer than a 4, or does that depend on how the engine runs, etc.?
Well, it depends on, from here on out, with the kind of service that these engines are seeing, and generally speaking, in a collector car, they're going to have nice clean oil in them. It's a complete non-issue.
Okay.
You won't live that long. You people are all old anyway. You're just not going to live that long, and neither am I.
Come on, Sonny.
Yeah. So that's a good way to clean them, and a way to test it. You could actually test them with a pair of pliers and develop a feel of your best and your worst, and then discard the worst lifters. These have been, fortunately, they have been reproduced. I always, when I scrap an engine, I always harvest the lifters out of them and test it. I'm just about out of lifters at this point, but they have been reproduced. So that's a good way to test, so you don't end up doing a lot of work putting your engine together and then still ending up with noisy lifters.
Beautiful. Yay.
Yay.